Welcome, everybody, to the Midnight Frogs podcast. Today we are celebrating the remakes of episodes 1, 2, and 3. With me, as always, is Yoshi.
Hi! I got a pick, hang on.
With a Kit Kat bar. With Travis.
Or as my new username is, 1 Unit Big T. Shit out of you.
And J-Pace.
Hey, what's up, mate?
Okay.
And then the chat exploded again.
Damn you. Trying to keep them alive. This is the most we've ever had, since the We Have a Right to Pray interview.
Yeah, the We Right to Pray one had like 78.
It's some ridiculous number like that. But before we get started, a few updates since we've been mostly inactive during the summer. I have started our own wiki, the Midnight Frogs wiki. I've been busy filling it up with all of the episode pages, as well as character pages, and still actively updating those since the remakes went up. I have also included pages to every episode of the Midnight Frogs podcast and a few other pages. If you see a page that looks like it needs more information or there's a page that needs to be made, just go ahead and let me know. I'm still filling it up, but I've been kind of on a block because I know I need to update a few things, but I just haven't gotten down to it.
If you don't start filling up, I will. We don't want.
I have admin powers. Don't tempt me.
Caro is a badminton player back in Australia. Huh? What else?
Yes, I was there.
In semi-related news, I don't know if you guys remember our former team member, team founder even, Dragon Fatman.
I'll take that as a no. Yeah.
I think I hear dead crickets.
One of it says, "Oh, him."
You know that fat guy at the end of episode 1? R?
Yeah, one R.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually put forward the fucking effort on my part to actually patch things up with him, because ever since we kicked him out, I've just been on his ass constantly. So I've patched things up with him for the most part. What this means to you is that our previous podcast, Fatty Time, is also on the Midnight Frogs. So pages to every episode of that is on the wiki, as well as download links if any of you guys are feeling remotely masochistic. Because
just take a drink when we start arguing, okay?
you'll be drunk by the end of.
The first 5 minutes.
I'll be drunk by the title.
Mike, the MTV box, take a drink.
You're told from the start.
You could seriously just follow the original team's decline the further the podcast goes on. But in fact, there's only one episode of that I think is good from start to finish. But if any of you are curious, Fatty Time is up on the Midnight Frogs wiki.
For my sake, listen.
Let's see. Also, I'll be starting college this month, near the end of it. I'm looking to get more classes than I've had these last couple semesters. At the moment, I only have 2 classes again, but hopefully I'll get 4 this time. How that's going to affect Sergeant Frog Abridged, if anything, the podcasts are going to the episodes are going to take a little longer to get out there. Hopefully it shouldn't take, or hopefully we should be able to get an episode out each month still. It's just giving you guys a heads up.
Yeah.
That's life.
Yeah, and I was supposed to go to college this month, but I decided to change my major because I don't actually know what I want to do with my life. Yeah.
And you were like 9 out of 10 people that go to college. Woo!
Yay! Yay for having a somewhat life. Well, it's been fun.
Yay for reality.
Right.
At least I realized. I mean, it's not like I'm going to be like 10 years later, okay, I hate doing this. Fuck.
Yeah.
Corn dog maker. Damn it.
No, Johnson, I don't want your fucking papers.
Well, that's why I say work on your general education first. Get that out of the way so that when you decide if you want to do a major, you'll have the annoying crap out of the way.
That's true.
Somebody in the chat says, be a VA. It's not that easy to get into. And besides, I don't have much of a range.
You're aware, like, 80% of the time when a voice actor is voice acting as a profession, they're technically unemployed.
Yeah, because I am one. I could definitely
It's like even Todd Habercorn, the voice of Caro in the Sergeant Frog dub, like he gets voices all the time in Funimation, but he sleeps in a car.
Yeah, he has to do like live theater, I think.
Yeah, he does live theater. He was on Barney once. Let's see.
Like different things in between voice acting just to hold up.
Yeah. Yeah, just to hold up. You got to do, like, it can't just be straight up voice acting. You have to do real life acting too. And I am not doing that.
Otaku Man will pay you to speak to him as Caro all night long.
I did.
Some old man is gonna be like, sit in my lap and speak to me like Caro.
I kind of have somebody. I kind of have somebody for that now, and it's free, so no thanks.
That's me.
No, he'll pay you.
Yeah.
I don't care if I get paid. That's still fucking creepy. I'd rather work at a McDonald's.
Hey there, little boy. Why don't you stick your mouth in my ear and go?
Travis, I swear to God, by the end of the day, I'm gonna hate you so much.
I'm working on it.
Little dick.
Big dick one. Anyway, continue. We're off subject.
Like, we haven't had one.
Well, we don't yet.
Subjects,
You know.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Last thing before we really get started, on a completely unrelated note, I've decided to start writing my first fanfic in 5 years.
Let me check outside the window. Holy shit, it's not falling. The
No.
sky is not falling. Thorn, you want to write a fanfic?
Can you believe it? I used to write fanfics back when I was a Sonic fag, but I'm a Zelda fag too, so I'm writing a Zelda fanfic, and I'm actually putting forward the effort to have it written decent. So it's not going to be like one of those crack joke yaoi fanfics that Yoshi has written for Sergeant Frog. It's gonna.
But they were good!
It's not going to star Elvis Costello.
Damn.
I
I don't know if I want to read it anymore.
know. There's some sparks in this. Fuck.
I am naming all of the chapters after Joy Division songs.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Where's the
That's
part?
pretty awesome.
I'm still waiting for the part where Travis does a backflip.
Eats a boxing glove and such. Yeah. Paul's gonna have to get a lot sexier for that to happen, just saying.
I am planning for there to be a lemon scene. Don't worry.
Enjoy!
That's not what everybody thinks. He's just selling lemons. Here you go. That'll be 25 cents.
Nobody's buying my lemons.
Yeah. I don't know when I'm going to be done with that. Like, I'm probably going to upload the first chapter, show everyone, and then go on from there. But in the meantime, I'm writing a fanfic. Hopefully it comes out decently, because I've actually been reading a couple of Zelda fanfics, and I've been actually really motivated. I didn't expect to be moved by a fanfic, and it happened.
Surprisingly, some fanfic authors can actually write.
I know.
Yeah.
I think both of them are actual novelists.
Sure about that?
I don't know if anything is going to be good as Dracula 2000. I'm setting the bar high here, man, but good luck.
That one changed my life.
But you need to write a note somewhere in your book where it says, in case Obama's president, change the name.
In case Bill Clinton is no longer running, please change the name.
Let's actually get started.
For realsies?
For realsies? SFA1. Now, I don't know if you guys in the chat are confused about this, but we're referring to the original 3 episodes 1, 2, and 3 as 1R, 2R, and 3R, the R meaning retconned. So from now on, if we say episode 1, we're referring to the remake. If we say episode 1R, we're referring to the original. Just wanted to get that out there.
Because we can't be like 1R is hilarious because it wouldn't be true.
It's not.
Yeah, I still cut myself when somebody says, "Where's that one joke you took out? It was great." No, it wasn't.
R isn't for remake; it's for retcon. If we were to put it in the original, people would think that or if we were to put it in the remake, people would think the original was important, and it's not.
I thought R meant raccoon.
I am black and white. Where should we get started?
Yes, sir.
We've been saying since like episode 2, we hated the episode 1R. We really could not stand it. The primary reason for that, it was just back then we just didn't know what we were doing. It was really as close to a cliched abridged series as you can get. Like, we're just trying to take the original and poke fun at it when we can't.
Come on, Takahata loved it.
Yeah,
So it must be great.
I know, right?
And he never watched another episode ever again, so whatever.
So fuck that guy.
Yeah. Did you watch episode 2? Who are you guys again?
That's kind of how it worked.
Yeah, just you wait. I remember Yoshi describing it a couple times as an experiment.
Yeah, because when I had the idea to do this, I had no microphone, no editing experience, no anything. I had shit. I'm surprised I even got this far.
And
A lot of people come to that concept like, I want to create a bridge series. I can't edit. I want someone else to write for me because I'm not funny. I had people send me messages online going, I want to create this abridged series. Oh, good. Are you just looking for voices? No, I need an editor and a writer. So the abridged creators, yes. Then what are you doing?
That was the one thing I did want to do. I did want to write, so I had that. Everything else was just no.
And voice Tamama. That was his other dream.
Yeah, I never wanted to do it. I just said, okay, this is the placeholder voice. Then we get no auditions. Fuck.
Well, the thing is, I've listened to a couple of fairly old recordings, and you kind of want it to be Kararo.
Yeah, I always wanted to be Karo, kind of. It's like I had no intentions of voicing, but like secretly, I'm going to be Karo. I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, so I actually am, and look at that. And I thought people would hate me, like, oh, they're not going to like this voice. Oh my god, they do, look at that.
I imagine there are still people who miss the Kiro.
Yeah, no, never. You're never going to hear that from me again, unless you pay me.
$200.
Behind the lemon tree, next to the McDonald's.
50 of that goes to me so that I let him live it down.
Speaking of that, old man will pay you for your work. Say kero 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 while I'm in my bubble bath. Kero kero kero! You make me feel dirty, Kero.
I want to take a bath now, but I don't want to give you ideas.
I'm making Pokemon now, fuck you guys! No, wait, that's been done like 7,000 times.
I think someone knows their major. No.
Yay for me!
But
Anyway. Anyways.
Anyway.
another part of it, obviously, up until I think like last month, Yoshi and I had been in an on-again, off-again antagonistic relationship with former member D Fat Man.
Well, mostly you, but...
Especially me.
Yeah, you more like you specifically.
Yeah, you've had your moments.
Yeah, just like a bit, but you're like, oh my god, I hate that guy. He just post a link. Ah!
I've heard of Psychopath. He screams.
So we wanted to remake our episode 1 without influence from Fat Man, because I would think it's a bit of that, along with the fact that we slowly developed our style, like right up until episode 4, where it mostly clicked. And it was just a case of getting that into the original episodes. Moving on, there was also the part of the opening.
I kind of wonder why we thought that was funny in the first place. Like, oh, hey, let's write this down. Oh, he tripped on a vacuum cleaner.
I remember I wanted to kind of start it off with like a faux dramatic kind of thing, and then just kind of ruin it. And it didn't. It ended up not working out.
Yeah.
Along with the intro music, which Fat Man, you could say he composed it, but he just used samples.
I can't imagine that was like an already made song, and he just changed like one note.
Instead of doo-doo-doo, it's doo-doo-doo-doo.
Ah, I see. We're gonna fucking. I am a music expert.
Like from episode 3 onward, we never had an intro.
Yeah. I actually like how in episode 3, God, we need a new intro, then we never have one ever again.
Well, we'll get to that, because that's part of why I told you we should redo episode 3.
Yeah.
The 2 jokes that we actually kept from episode 1, the most blatant one, Todd's toilets.
I love that guy so much.
It's like, it was just some stupid idea that somehow got expanded to a running gag that I think qualifies as a big-lipped alligator moment.
Yeah, like the original thing was that like Fuyuki was supposed to get a gift card, and he was supposed to get something like for Macy's or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to think of something like a lot lamer, so I said, "Oh boy, Todd's toilets," and then everybody was dying. So, yeah, we wrote it down, and then he ended up being like one of the best characters on the show.
I'm glad we expanded it, because still watching that, I just see Natsumi staring at Fuyuki, and behind her, there's this balloon. And, like, even taking the music out, you can tell they're in complete silence, and it's just gone and explodes. Nobody reacts.
I feel like he's one of those guys who puts up one of those hot air balloons on top of his building to get attention, but he always forgets to put bricks in it, so it always flies away from him.
Yeah.
And then someone has to shoot it down every time. So
I just love how that scene with Fuyuki came out. Where he's like constantly smashing his head against the floor.
I think the best thing about that's the sound it makes. It's like a landing sound, just. It's like the strangest sound for headbutting a building.
Tear down this school.
The thing is, when I first heard it, I didn't realize that sound was him pushing the carol ball. I thought that was him clapping. like tear down this school. I'm here in my head.
You can control gravity now. Thanks, Travis.
He's God. He's a bomb man.
He just clapped and jumped in the air and headbutted the school.
Imagine if he had a clap on. Clap on! Fuck!
Clebot flies to the ceiling.
His head goes through the light.
Oh, hey, that's me. Oh, you're getting dressed. Sorry.
I just remember laughing so hard. It's like a cheerleader sort of thing. Tear down the school! Okay! Boom!
D! Give me an E!
Just imagine they could clap, they all just fly into space and they never come down.
Give me a Band-Aid!
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 What does that spell? God, give me a Band-Aid, because I need help.
Give me an E! Someone throws a giant E at him. Thank you!
The E from Todd's toilet's balloon flies and smacks him in the face when it explodes.
Give me an E! Fuck! Yeah, but yeah, Todd's great. He really is.
Kind of hoping we remember to use him again, but we can't overuse him.
I can't. Yeah, we can't overuse him, but I kind of can't forget him after the jingle at the end.
No.
Todd's toilet. That was the part I just added just because I was like, I gotta add my own twist to this thing.
Second joke that actually stuck around was the lesbo squill, and I know a couple people were sad that it wasn't used in the same context technically.
But it was still there.
Because originally, when Natsumi looks around, we see the lesbo with this totally disheveled face, and in this you don't even see her face. It's just, it sounds creepy now.
I know, right? I think that's better.
It's just kind of scary to imagine someone grabbing onto your shoulder and just going...
Just going...
That steam is for you.
I really love doing that, really.
I can kind of see what they mean when it doesn't quite or like it's not quite like how the original does it, but I like the idea of making the lesbos just slightly creepier.
I think what people liked about the original is that that sound caught people off guard when they just zoomed over to this blank face and I can't even do the sound. That I think someone put a comment I'd be interested in seeing. What would be Guerrero's version of the lesbian squeal?
Oh damn, that's a lesbian, all right.
I think it's even more terrifying.
Brains. So do you guys have any interesting comments or anything interesting you noticed about episode 1?
Yeah, that it was better than the first.
Besides that, like for you guys.
I'm glad you took out the Fist of the North Star joke because I was pretty sure that was in the original.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. We don't want to get into it.
Ah, okay.
It wasn't because of that. It was just because I only put that in there because after watching the original, I didn't know what else to put. So I just went with that.
I remember laughing quite a bit also with the Caro getting up and then just quitting. Where it's like, oh,
Yeah, that was mine.
Plus, you kind of have to question where he's saying, a toilet balloon saved my ass again. When did it save his ass the first time?
That's a secret, Mr. Travis.
Hey, I'm not falling for that again. When did he fall for becoming friends?
I don't know. Maybe we'll make a joke out of it or something. I don't know. We'll see.
I like how these things apply again. Like, where did these actually happen?
Actually, I have a. I kind of want to order. Well, what did you guys think of me using a little more Spanish now in the remakes?
I love when you use Spanish.
I find it quite funny.
So you inspected the Costa?
Soy a major, yes.
Yeah. I loved when Yoshi said soy and major yes.
Yay, being Hispanic helps.
I love the line he made up for episode 2.
Oh yeah.
Habla choo choo.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that because that actually does mean something.
It does. It actually, it's like question marks, but that's actually a real sentence. So, moving on.
I'm also glad you took out the rape joke.
Oh my god, I hate it.
I was like,
Oh yeah, the RAP.
I just sponsored Frank.
Yeah, I kind of like to forget we did that.
I remember watching the first episode, I almost kind of rolled my eyes. I was like, oh god, we're going there.
And then you watch the later episodes, hey, these guys don't suck after all.
No, the thing is, we did the RAEP squid, like that whole scene, because we got sick of the tentacle rape jokes that everyone uses. We tried to do something different.
It didn't work.
Not quite.
We had the whole get it, it's rape kind of thing going on.
Hacha. You can proceed to kick me in the balls now.
I'm the one who put it there.
Okay, kick Thorn in the balls.
I'm not going to be using them.
Ahoy, hoy.
Ahoy, ahoy.
You think I'm joking?
You have to pee at some point.
Balls, not bladder.
Oh!
What do you think balls are for?
What did my anatomy teacher
Squeal.
Did you fail biology too?
Yes, actually, in freshman year.
Okay, that explains
I'm
it.
not making a joke. I'm straight up. I failed biology.
Hold on. This is my confusion of it. When did... I was in high school biology. We never talked about balls. What school did you go to?
Well, you see, Travis, had you been in Passaic High School, you would have known.
Oh, yeah, I went to an all-girls school. They kicked me out after 2 weeks. That was the best 2 weeks of my life.
I would have passed.
Why are you here?
Is when I started growing facial hair, they're like, wait, there's only 3 girls with facial hair here, and we're pretty sure you're not one.
I'd remember to shave. I'm not stupid.
Good man.
The skirt, the same thing.
I wouldn't be able to pass off my voice, though. It's too deep.
I played for the soccer team. Oh, that explains everything.
That's why I got myself a voice box.
I play women's tennis. Serena Williams is my godmother.
I can just imagine going to one where you're actually playing another girl and you hear the girl go, eh! And then hear the girl go,
Teacher, I think he's been using steroids.
then why is he losing?
Question of the day.
Never mind. Sorry. Just flip her off.
So, yeah, SFA2.
Yeah, that was episode 1 on episode 2. Can you believe episode 2 has had 4 scripts as of the remake?
Oh my god.
Wow.
I think that's when they called me in. We got to script 3 and they're like, wait a minute, we'll call the random ass person random ass, and I popped in.
No, that was way before, Mr. Travis.
No, we knew we were going to need you for episode 2 remake.
Yes.
No, the very original script was written by Fat Man by himself during production of episode 1R. And I think he was half asleep at the time, and he hadn't watched the original episode 2. So it was doomed to fail from the start. Then Yoshi and I took that, rewrote all the jokes, so they're actually decent, and the script still sucked. Then we went to record and found that the script we had from there on didn't work with the source video. One of the main reasons why that episode 2R was held back for 5 months.
It's not the main reason, but one of them.
No, it was the reason it was held back from from March.
Yeah.
So then Yoshi and I remade the other script that was finally used for 2R. Then we decided we want to remake it, so now the remake is the 4th script.
We're gonna make a champion edition in 3 years.
Turbo Edition Deluxe.
EXR4. But yeah, I actually like episode 2 now.
Yeah.
It's fun to write, to be sure.
Oh, definitely.
This is how I describe the writing process for episode 2. We had some plot ideas of where things were going to go. We'd hit a certain point, and it'd just be like a wall of silence. Because we'd be sitting there in a pondering moment. Someone would say something, go, no, that won't work. And about 15 minutes in, I would say, I have an idea, but it's stupid.
then I would say, perfect.
They're like, that's great.
And I'd say, okay, go ahead. What is it?
And then usually I'd say something completely stupid, and they'd go, perfect.
Then we just stand up and clap.
I can almost you could do a running counter of the random shit in there, and I'm involved in like 95% of whatever's like what the fuck moments.
Yeah, Travis was telling me like before we were recording for a Bomberman part that every time he thinks of something really stupid, he has to tell himself, "No, that's stupid," and he doesn't say it. It's like it's up to me and Yoshi to actually get it out of him.
Come on, it'll be great. Come on.
Like
I'm so glad we did.
Like our official Peronian national anthem that we I totally fucking made up at the top of my head.
That made me laugh so hard.
You guys don't know that song that Karo and Forbid Fuyuki were singing. We're considering that the official Karon national anthem.
The national anthem on Karon.
Well, I just remember that situation where we're sitting there. I came up with a joke of Fuyuki asking how where do I get game. And we're sitting there going, fuck, where would you get game? And then as I'm living by, and I just went, okay, guys, prepare to hear something very stupid. Can't make candle games. And they're like, okay, we're using that.
And I followed it up with, what was the second one? I forgot.
They both go together like coffee and cream.
That. I followed it up with that, and then we just kept adding lyrics. Later on, down the script.
The one that killed, if you ever listen or like post the scripting process for episode 2, the one that I always remember is when we got to the point where Karo jumped up on top of the fence. That was the main moment. Okay, I have an idea, but this is incredibly stupid and doesn't make any sense. Like, just go. And I was like, I ain't broken sidewalks. And like, what?
It was perfect. I loved it.
Why does his mom hate broken sidewalks?
I went back home and my mom told me she hated broken sidewalks.
It's better to not think about it.
The fact that you went home and your mom told you she hates broken sidewalks.
I just realized something Carol's dad told him before he left. Natsumi's a whore. Something his mom told him. I hate broken sidewalks.
I always love that joke. Natsumi's a whore joke.
His parents are fucking weird.
Yeah.
I just like a line like that because clearly it's not true. Because how is this person supposed to even know who Natsumi is? This feels like a lame excuse to say that. So my dad told me Natsumi's a whore.
I just kind of like to think he just like says these random things and they just happen. Kind of like Paul, kind of.
Yeah. That was a good 2 days of writing. And also, if you just came in the podcast, I came into a realization about one of my jokes today that I said. The whole Momika throwing a ball at Tama and saying, make like a tree. I mean, my first mindset was like, just make like a tree and leave, and she just couldn't finish it because she kept on hitting herself in the face. Then I was like, wait a minute, Momika, tree's dying. Maybe what she's trying to say is make like a tree and die. I was like, oh my god, that's what it is, isn't it?
Isn't it fun realizing shit after the fact?
Depth hidden in insanity.
Like that's kind of how episode 10 came about, just realizing shit afterwards that somehow seemed to work.
It just made connections that we didn't even realize.
It all goes back to episode 10.
It all goes to 10.
Everything goes to hell.
Well, 10 would be hell. I mean, did you see this fucking dollar store?
Disorganized like my ass.
Discounts, oh god.
I swear to God, I saw a 99-cent sign somewhere.
2 for 1. Ah!
I still think it would have been kind of a funny idea that when Evil Karo was in the dollar store, every time he tried to say an evil plot, he'd have to ring someone out. So he's still like, just like, I moved back in time to make sure that everything went complete. Ding! Oh, thank you for coming by, sir. Anyway, I came by. How much is this? $1. Can I get 2 for 50 cents? No, get out.
Can I pay with spiders?
You mean future Kulu?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. I can't take this coupon. Anyway.
Everyone can take this coupon.
One for you, one for you, none for you, one for you.
What for you? You owe me.
I know your face, Michael.
What is wrong with us?
I just imagine some guy's like, hey man, I bought this coupon by this fat guy with a green head, and he was telling me to work on anything. No!
Tell him to work. He's probably explained the whole what the hell Karo's actually saying when he's running to the door. Like really early on when he's all like por fin me compraron un chuchu! Like, it's all question marks, but what he's actually saying is, finally, they bought me a train.
The thing is, that part was funny because we're just like, he walks to the door and Thorn just goes, quickly, Yoshi, think of something Spanish.
And I was just thinking, okay, let's see, trains. Like, I forgot the Spanish word for train, but I don't think it even has one. I think it's just choo-choo, so I just said choo-choo. Everybody knows it's fucking choo-choos.
So we made it question marks just for the people who understand Spanish to get it.
And I also love I think one of my favorite old Spanish segments is the one where he's like, fucking love cleaning! Ah!
It's not how you start fast fires.
It's not! Even if you have gunpowder sprayed on your wall, it doesn't...
Like, so fast, there's a fucking house in a fire. The fucking fire.
Must be the house covered in like gasoline, and your tips of your brush were made of matches.
I remember
that still be
saying, like,
tough.
I remember you guys saying, like, oh, Yoshi, you're gonna have to do, like, a really loud scream. I'm like, okay. Ah!
That's like, it sounds like a scream of panic and desperation to something he loves, which makes it all the more amusing. I love it! Ah!
I'm kind of glad we kept Quattro and Agacharse, though.
Yeah, I still love Quattro. I can never forget Quattro. Especially
I like
Thor being,
Toma's look on that scene. Where he's just kind of staring at like, what?
Well, I'm lost.
You wanna go upstairs? Ah!
I actually said Quattro like exactly how I originally said it to Yoshi when he just started speaking Spanish during scripting for SFA2R. Because originally when it says "That's a debate ande," all I can say is Quattro.
That was the first thing you replied to, and I started dying. Like you had nothing. All you got was Quattro.
Quattro.
I lost it.
And since
and now
then,
four.
connected with 4.
Yeah, and now 4 is such a huge number in SFA. 4 and 9.
We actually ended up not keeping as many gags as we originally intended.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, there are plenty of moments in this which are pretty clever, pretty funny. We can try and keep them. Jack stayed.
I told you before watching it. I was like, we're gonna have nothing. You're like, no, we're gonna get at least one. After we finish it, yeah, we got shit.
Yeah, we kind of needed you, Travis, for that one.
Or which one?
The 2 remake.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was great. Like I just love the national anthem.
It's true. I mean, most of the jokes we came up with were just it seemed like we're just running out of ideas. Like, quickly, something random, Travis. Potato design. Like I came with a whole idea with Momoka doing scatting, jazz scatting.
Pop!
I think you were flat.
Well, we did keep statue.
Yeah.
We kept statue, though now it's even less out of context. So fun.
I did love that line. When you said that, I was like, that's perfect.
Because I was like thinking like she would say like how like an Axe body spray commercial where they're like, oh yeah, oh my god, you put this on, everybody wants to fuck you, and then nothing happens. So.
Well, I just like it's kind of cute and like, and it turns into almost like something kind of sexually scary kind of thing. Turns into, she's looking at the window. Ooh, so fine.
Smash thinks, I think your flag could have a double meaning.
Aw.
Dare we ask? Or if you're talking about her chest, that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah,
I
I
would-
mean,
She's
she's like,
would be mean in real. I remember I think I killed. I don't know if I killed either Thorn or Yoshi when I did that whole where like I'm Fuyuki. I like just go cartwheeling a song and riding my bike into a tree.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
Thor.
that was. I died.
Yeah, he died. I was just giggling. I was like, get the fuck. Like, I'll just like hit a tree.
I ride my bike into a tree. Because it's so it's so in line with Fuyuki.
And the fact that it's something he also enjoys.
Like it's like his national like it's
Yay!
like if it was an extreme sport. Yeah, I'm into bike tree crashing. You know.
Also, I think I kill these guys anytime I come up with a line of someone smashing something into a tree.
Can't make a candle out of
Asbestos.
Actually, I want to know why was the first line "You can't make a candle"? Where did "can't make a candle" come from?
I don't know. I kept on thinking. I was like, what doesn't fit with hopes and dreams? A candle. Can't make a candle out of hopes and dreams.
They all go together like coffee and cream.
Literally, it's just something I made up at the top of my head. Like, there's no context. It's like I think I hate broken sidewalks is that I do not like broken sidewalks myself. Try to ride a bike on that shit and knocks you over. I mean, come on, fix it.
And you're like, well, damn.
And I just flip over my bike and go, I hate broken sidewalks!
Like in midair, also, you just go slow motion for no reason. I really like episode 2. It came out great. Didn't we have an original joke with Todd or something like that?
Yeah, we did. We were going to have him be the one who dropped the pans on Momoka. But
I kept pushing for actually Todd to hit Momoka with the balloon and explode.
God.
problem is it having Todd in that scene actually disrupted the flow.
Yeah.
J-Pace, do you have any favorite jokes from episode 2?
It's either sounds like Stockholm Syndrome to me, or for some reason I really like the joke where Thomas goes, and we're not talking until pink trees start dying.
Yeah. I wanted to say more like yeah, but you were like yeah.
Tomo wouldn't say it like that though.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. You're not like that. Though. You're not Lil. You're not Lil Jon.
It's kind of creepy level. Like, yeah.
And I thought the Aki's husband was pretty funny too.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
Love her too, baby.
I don't remember who came up with that one. That one did make me laugh.
It was you, 'cause I remember like when that joke came up, I was like ordering Chinese food.
Probably me and Travis.
I was like, okay.
I know I came up with it. It's like a heaven of splinters and asbestos.
That was you.
I like how when Aki's like, "Where's my husband?" Kara just stares at the screen.
Yeah.
But first we're gonna just have him just go, but it's like, no, it's better if it's just silence.
I'm the only one who gets an around here.
I love Fuyuki with that upside down mouth.
Because you're out of this world.
That killed me when you did that one. We're gonna take the looks are out of this world. I was like, oh my god.
It just zooms up on the thing and just go, It sounds like you're unimpressively drowning on a boat. Oh no.
Water.
Water.
Yeah.
I'd say it was a good episode.
That was a good episode. I think we can move on to 3 now.
All right. Pretty sure there was something I wanted to say about 2, and I can't remember it for the life of me.
That's what the whole thing just popped out.
I just forgot.
Ah.
Anyway, on to episode 3. We originally didn't intend to remake 3. As recently as episode 10, Yoshi and I were saying that's when this current continuity starts, and that's where Yoshi and I, as abridgers, that's where our skills started to pick up. The problem was, I rewatched episode 3, and I reread through the script again, and I realized retconning 1R and 2R meant that episode 3 had a lot of plot holes. Like, if anything, 2 glaring ones. And I have also thought it's a little too slow, and the voice acting wasn't that good. Plus, it had Ghost as Kululu and Yoshi as Tamama, and that's just those two voices are gone.
Yeah.
We might as well just remake it and put it in line with the continuity as well.
Like, I remember when you brought up the idea, like, oh, we should remake SFA3. I'm like, no, there's no point. I don't care. And then you brought up the plot hole thing. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. By remaking 3, we created another plot hole.
It's funny how you got done with the third one before you even finished the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Kululu did have a chest cold. I was going to mention that. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up because Kululu does have a chest cold in episode 4. That's why he doesn't talk. And he's still getting over it in episode 5, which is why J-Pace, it was his first time as Kululu. It was kind of quieter.
Yeah, but it was kind of weak compared to now.
And before anyone asks, no, we're not redoing 4. We're done, all right? Stop.
I had to promise myself we're not going to redo 4.
It doesn't need it. It really just doesn't need it.
For some reason it doesn't make any sense to me, but I do love that joke where Taro hits Kulu with the newspapers. You drive to the hospital right now, mister! What does it even mean?
I don't know. It's just something I thought of.
But the 2 big plot holes that we wanted to fix were in the original post-credits, Kero and Gyuroro talk about Gyuroro having laryngitis in the episode 1 post-credits. He's not in the episode 1 post-credits anymore. So that didn't make any sense. We also didn't have an intro theme, so my remark in the original episode 3 of, God, we need a new intro, didn't make any sense either. And like I said, wanted to just get rid of Yoshi's stint as Tamama and a Ghost stint as Kululu. And also just improving the voice acting in general, because even back then, I wasn't quite feeling Gyuroro just yet.
I like on that one blooper, you're like, let's do it.
Oh yeah, let's do it. Of course, I wanted to up the video quality and the editing because I think back then we were still using video clips that every now and then they would just blank out for whatever reason. Probably because I think back then, Yoshi, you were using this YouTube video converter.
Yeah, I was using that. Now I have a Super HD thingy.
Yeah, so that works out nicely, but back then, not quite. You could really tell in PMDA because the video would. But you could tell in both PMDA and SFA2R, or every now and then the video would just kind of black out.
Yeah, I had like little blocks and stuff.
I told Yoshi we needed to keep at least 90% of the script because it was a decent episode as it was. It's just you timed that perfectly.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's just a picture.
Oh,
It's okay. I'll tell the chat because it'll be great. The picture I have right now, it's Thorn x Travis.
Oh Lord.
Oh God.
let me get it out of the way now. You're not my type, Travis. I'm sorry.
I'll just have to move on.
Hang on, let me show you guys. Let me get the picture.
As I was saying, the original episode 3, the script was decent. It just here and there it needed a few better jokes and punchlines, and obviously the plot holes. And remaking it, we didn't want to make more plot holes, which might have happened if we remade it completely, because a lot of the continuity really started with episode 3, and we call back to it pretty frequently. Like the first 4 episodes after Yoshi and I just like started clicking and all that. So just wanted to keep it as steady as it could, and I think it held up better this time. You guys have any thoughts about episode 3? Any favorite jokes?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was great. I liked the Kula's introduction a lot better than the original one.
What do you want? I love that line.
The fuck do you want?
The fuck do you want?
I know what I really love when like Fuyuki's like, oh my god, there's something like, and I'm bored. Hey, son, and Giro's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? It does work better. Like, Yurori wouldn't expect his voice to crack of all people. I don't think it cracked so much as it's that falsetto that happens. It's happened for me occasionally, even.
I still thought it was kind of funny how half it looked like he was holding the newspaper in the original. Where you kind of edited the newspaper onto his arm like that.
I taped it to my hand.
Well, this paper looked like shit.
Like he had an arm blade made of newspaper.
Like, shut up, I have Mega Man, I'll shoot you.
I'll kill you with the truth. No, you can't handle the truth? You really can't handle the truth.
Stocks just went down!
The stocks went down and so will you!
Smack.
I'd like to see a poster of like You Can't Handle the Truth where Birdie's in the position of Jack Nicholson in that movie.
Most people get the car sick. You're just sick of the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Get a bucket. What did you guys think of me redoing Tama's old people commercial bit?
I love the all dramatic about it. There's like a freaking drop in the backdrop and everything.
Get off his lawn!
I like this one. It's over 6. I'm also unimpressed.
I guess that's kind of like our addition to the lame joke thing. Because usually we would either completely stop someone from saying an overdone meme or have them read or like say it in some weird way. It's like now it's just we're just gonna completely mock it.
It's pretty much that's the reaction anytime I hear a meme is that I just go or just go.
Just go over there and never come back. Another thing I really liked, where like, when you buy me a new toothbrush, I feel hurt.
That was
I
good.
feel hurt. What kind of fucking response is that?
I don't know. I just said that like during the scripting.
I like how at the end of episode 3, Caro decides to start sucking.
Oh yeah, I was like,
That I feel hurt line kind of reminds me of a line from episode I think 9 where it's like, I broke my hand.
Yeah. He just accepts it.
like okay, yeah. All right.
Pain doesn't quite affect him the same way it affects normal people, it appears.
I'm glad we could introduce into it, but hopefully it doesn't spoil episode 6.
That's by far the shortest episode, though, too. It was like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. Episode 3 was already the shortest episode.
I know. And besides, that's what the term abridged really means.
Yeah.
I hear birds.
I think it sounds like Spyro or something. Choo choo.
Don't look at me.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably me. My bad.
Shit.
That's good.
I'm from the future.
Shit!
Get out of the box. I think that's it.
I think so.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, season 2, and what else is coming up this next year?
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about SFA11 first. So, SFA11. We're doing that. Done. Okay, next. Okay, no, seriously. Episode 11 is going to come out this month. Season 2 starts this month, y'all, which is great. We have the episode list is all set, pretty much. It's going to introduce a new character I've been wanting to use for a while now. And it's going to be great, trust me. And it's actually going to introduce a character I didn't give a shit about, but then eventually I cared about because of how we were doing the thing, and you'll see.
As you can tell, we had Travis riding with us, and that just kind of happens.
We have a new character inspired by me. You get to look forward to that.
Yeah, it's inspired by Travis. You'll see who it is. 2 new characters in one. Let's see, and that's all I want to say right now, because I want to keep everything under wraps.
When season 2 is over, Yoshi and I have decided we're going to abridge the first Sergeant Frog movie. So that is set for after season 2.
Yep.
Get star Peabot.
Starring Peabot.
Taking over your airwaves.
Heck, go. Oh yeah, well here's a staircase. Fuck you.
You bitch. Ah, bird.
Thorn, you want to talk about Bomberman?
Yeah, since I'm sure as many of you like Sergeant Frog abridged, a few of you like Jetter's abridged, right? I would hope.
Oh, it was abridged.
No, it's completely different.
But everybody loves Birdie. If it's not Bomberman, it's Birdie.
I still love that comment that we got in one of the videos where it said, "Is it just me, or do you steal jokes from Sergeant Frog and Bridge?" Are you kidding me?
Is it me or like you steal those people who do the same?
Is it just me, or do you steal jokes from yourself?
Sad thing is, I even put forward an effort to make sure Jetter's abridged has nothing in common with Sergeant Frog abridged.
It really
like, makes
doesn't.
no reference to it whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a point where we've ever referenced Sergeant Frog beyond the fact that there's voice actors involved. And birds.
And birds, that's about it.
But aside from episode 3, which I told Travis we're going to do it in September, so that's when Jetter's episode 3 is coming out. In, I think, like a couple weeks, the Bomberman Hero LP that Travis and I are doing will be completed.
Sweet Jesus. Been a journey.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get even crazier, because as soon as I can get a new GameCube controller, we're going to move on to the Bomberman Jetters game.
What to now?
What do you know? So that's going to be even more fun than Bomberman Hero, because as fun as it is to make Peabot into a creepy motherfucker, now we have an entire game of the characters that Travis Knight and Code Black made even better, and they've been translated into utter ass. Birdie sounds nothing like you would think from this. We're going to rip the fuck out of this game. It's going to be
Oh my god, I heard the voice and I was like, no. That's not Birdie. That is not fucking Birdie.
Everyone knows that I'm Birdie. Sorry, other voice actor. You're fired.
The hurricane bomb will be more effective.
Come, Bomberman, I'm a superhero.
Dun 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 dun.
Dun 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 dun.
And I only turned on my capture card like just to hear the music. I didn't expect to hear Gangu like that. And I really hope people realize that I only made Gangu a racist Japanese stereotype because that's what they made Gangu in English.
It's completed.
He really says completed. My ass. But that's going to be coming up in a few weeks. Hopefully I can get a new controller by then.
Hajikeru Bomba.
They took that theme out, too.
It did?
They took out Hajikeru Bump. What was it? No, Bokuwa Gakepuchi from the game and just replaced it with this really weak, really thin rock intro.
You can't make Bomberman hardcore.
No. The original was more hardcore than that song.
Yeah, fucking don't bomb!
At least the game is decent, but the localization was terrible. So look forward to that. J-Pace, how's it looking around you? Are there people around you?
I can make it work. I can work with this.
Are you sure? Because it's a bit.
Yeah.
It's
I think I can do this. I owe the people this much.
some pretty heavy stuff.
I read over it. I think I can deal.
And your parents look at it and it's gonna be like,
Don't worry, it's okay. It's just my internet friends.
They like to fuck. What can I say?
yeah, I guess we can finally, after so fucking long, do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been like 5 months or so, but we're gonna raid the Yowie.
Remember that Yowie contest thing we did forever ago?
We're finally going to raid the winner.
Yeah, we're reading the winner.
Yeah.
This is like the most delayed prize ever.
Is the winner here?
There isn't here. We don't know who it is. It's you guys. Maybe it's us. I think we're the losers.
All right.
I'm just upset we only got 6 entries.
Yeah.
Gotta make a Yowie contest 2 or something. I don't know.
I still have your lines, actually. It has an extra ending. I think we can skip that, because the extra ending is the actual sex.
Oh yeah, we can totally skip that.
Oh yeah, let's.
Fuck that shit.
It's actually a decently written story.
Yeah, it was actually good. There was some other story that was second place, but no, this is still good.
That one was funny. This is
Yeah.
properly written. I don't think this is what I remembered something. I don't think this is what I was thinking of when I forgot what I was going to say about episode 2, but for anyone who, I know Smash thought the joke about a weirdo in glasses from Florida was about him. It wasn't. He knows that.
Yeah, I told him that. It's not you.
It was not, you cocky bastard.
No, the guy from Florida was actually J-Pace. Just wanted
Yeah.
Acha!
Acha.
because J-Pace lives in Florida.
Yes.
I don't think he wears glasses, though.
No, I don't.
Did you say carbs?
But Kululu does, and that's the joke.
Yes. So we gonna do this or?
Yeah.
All right.
Are we going to do each other?
All right, let's get this over with.
I watch.
Alrighty. Here's a winner for the Yowie contest, written by Sycophantism, I believe.
He's still here. Even here.
He does it like awesome.
J-Base, go ahead and mute your mic until Kululu shows up.
Okay.
There is a lot of narration in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He types it as Kururu. I'm pronouncing it as Kululu. Kululu had the convenient, vulnerable habit of being very organized. While his hazardous, chaotic lab seemed to contradict this, the files in his computer were probably the easiest things to navigate. Despite its intensely strict composition, the defenses were state-of-the-art, and probably his number one priority when it came to security.
Well, it looks like I'm gonna have to get going, folks, if I'm gonna make it to this concert on time.
Okay.
All right, Travis, you go.
But
Travis,
it's good.
Bye, Travis.
And hope you guys enjoy the fan fiction. Sorry, I couldn't do the voice of a creepy little boy.
That's all right.
I'll catch everyone later.
Later,
See
man.
ya.
Have fun, Travis.
All right, Yoshi, you're the kid then.
Yay. If I could get the goddamn thing open!
Despite its intensely strict composition, the defenses were state-of-the-art, and probably his number one priority when it came to security. Every individual file, program, and shortcut had its own password, as well as a time limit and restricted amount of attempts, that being 1. So much for 3 strikes, you're out. Also coded, almost everyone would find his patterns almost impossible to decipher. The acronyms meant nothing to anybody but him, and the properties held no clues to those who attempted deeper access. An anti-hack system was even in place, a program he had designed himself especially for this mission of defense. Finally, firewalls themselves stood guard at the figurative perimeter of his RAM, all of them up to date and personally altered to suit his needs. Of course, multiple failures would crash many a computer and dishearten just as many hackers. All, in fact, but for one, who even now dutifully wormed his way into the Sergeant Major's systems and covered his trail expertly. All his free time went into sabotaging his rival, and in his latest escapade into Kululu's computer, he'd found a very interesting file indeed. Just his luck, then, that the other Coronian had stumbled across his activities by pure coincidence, and infected his computer with a nasty virus in retaliation. That alone had nearly convinced him to give up, the one time he had gotten anywhere with his hard work, and pure incident led to failure once more. His depression faded as what little he had remembered of the file resurfaced in his memory, and once again, the recruit had set to work on ruining his enemy's superiority complex. Dodging around passwords was time-consuming, but relatively easy work, especially for hackers of their elite status. At this point, Tororo was convinced Kululu was so high on his victory that the Sergeant Major wouldn't have even considered that the recruit would try again so soon.
I got here. Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Probably taking a curry bath in celebration.
Can you say that again? I don't think they heard you.
Alright. Probably taking a curry bath in celebration.
The recruit thought with a dark scowl and a slight shudder. How disgusting could a guy get? And to think, Kululu was actually considered number one in what was rightfully Tororo's esteemed field of expertise. As he dug deeper into the codes, the surroundings began to look familiar, and he finally set himself on track to the proper system. It had taken merely an hour to recover from his bout of degradation, but another 6 had passed since he started again at his mission. It really was ridiculous how fastidious Kururu was about his security. There. The file. This one. Less coded than the rest. G66 was a label, and it had struck Tororo as odd that his rival would have such a deeply protected file labeled so openly. It also had a stronger passcode, and the recruit spent almost an hour alone working at it. As his frustration began to border anger, he was through, and the peach tadpole jumped slightly as the file opened. Photographs, memos, file and text logs, videos, and jot notes filled the file. Interest once more piqued, his excitement at having found the file again so quickly fading. Tororo quickly pulled up several of the image files and saved them to go over later. Upon further investigation, he began to realize that most of the text files were simply messages from the other platoon's corporal, reports, formal requests to be sent to HQ on Charon, personal messages to Kululu about odds and ends, these latter being small and few in number. Apparently, the two didn't get along very well. Then why the file, so stubbornly protected and carefully named? Tororo had found no sign of files corresponding with the other 3 platoon members. There had to be something here, something of use, something of worth, something he could use against Kululu. The video logs were mostly security feeds from the target range, or candid takes of the corporal watching their female human escort. The latter was a little irritating, but he didn't pay it mind. Not until the same videos came up, with Kululu's face in place of the girl's. That was enough to jerk Tororo out of his focus and nearly fall out of his chair. A light knock at the door roused the recruit, who frowned briefly.
What?
This is Taru. You want to do him too?
Alright. You okay in there? Heard something crash.
Taru, of course. The platoon had the room next to Toro, or the private had the room next to Toro. Lucky for both. Or lucky for both. When an irritated exhalation of air.
Fine, go away!
And returned to his work. After a pause, the sound of footsteps outside and the shutting of a door told him he was once again left at peace. Glancing around, Toro noticed that something had indeed fallen over, and he leaned down to scoop up his backup keyboard. He must have knocked it down when he recoiled, and at that thought, he looked back at his screen. The videos continued to play over the screen, all with Kululu-headed Pekaponians and a certain shocked corporal. Definitely weird. More research, more hours wasted, and another visit from Tararu, who shouted at him to go to bed early. Ignoring this, the tadpole dimmed the lights on his screen and hooked his headphones up to his computer to silence it. Finally, the file was copied, and finally, he had discovered what was going on. Be it for selfish indulgence at the unaccepted community, or sadistic humor at another's expense, Kululu was projecting to Giroro a certain affection. A crush. Toro nearly gagged. He definitely felt for the guy. What a repulsive thought, having that guy trying to court you. And in the most malicious of ways. At this point, the recruit had to determine something. Whether Kululu's crush was to bug Giroro, or if it was legitimate. Had he thought in depth about it, he would have figured that the deeply hidden files signified embarrassment, or at least secretive intimacy. But this was Kululu he was talking about. How could that guy ever care about anything? Frustration bubbled to the surface of the corporal's mind, finally drawing him to stand and start pacing the backyard. Night had fallen, the house was dark, and every Thiggin was quiet. The Hinata family had left for a surprise... Okay, I won't read the typos anymore. This is actually a decent story.
Serious.
The Hinata family had left for a surprise visit to the general up in the mountains, leaving their extraterrestrial entourage behind for once. A festival was taking place, one that all the Coronians, save for Dororo, were unfamiliar with. A weekend alone had seemed like a good chance to convince Kararo that an invasion plan was due. Not that it made any difference. The sergeant had abandoned the house almost immediately after the kids, taking off to spend the 2 days of freedom at the Nishizawa mansion.
To train! I don't know if this is this, actually.
I think that's Kararo. Go ahead.
To train! To train! Tell them it will make sure I stay on track. Don't worry, Giroro. Jeez, you're so uptight.
The house was empty for the most part, in that case, and the spiraling snow was starting to bring about the unusual craving for warmth. Nobody had to know, after all, except, of course, Kululu, who had cameras set up all over the place, and it would be a miracle of itself if the sergeant major didn't take a video of Giroro sleeping inside and show everyone. Of course, Kululu had been unusually quiet lately. Despite himself, Giroro had ventured to the lab the week prior, the unrequited silence having fallen the week before that. No response had been issued, save for the appearance of a "Go away, I'm busy" message, flashing dimly and slowly over his door. Taking the hint, the corporal had left. Still, nothing had surfaced, though, not even the request for anyone to be a guinea pig for his new crazy invention. On that note, Giroro wasn't even sure that Kululu was working on some new experiment. Lingering on that unsettling thought, the absence could just as easily be perceived as an antisocial withdrawal, as a forced discommunication. But that was ridiculous. Kululu was the safest of them all, deep in his hole in the ground with all the technology he could possibly need around him. Every wire was programmed to preserve his safety. It was like a high-tech fortress in there. Thoughts drifting, Giroro found himself drawn regardless to the base below grounds, subspace pocket ready with its resources on hand. The maze of hallways, long since memorized, led him effortlessly to the sergeant major's lab, the door of which was as ever shut. As he approached, the screen atop the door once again portrayed the message, "Go away, I'm busy." "Don't pull that so easily with me," Giroro thought irately, sparing the small screen a scathing glare, before bringing his fist against the door three times. "Kululu, open up!" Silence replied. Irritation mounting, the corporal repeated himself, several times in fact, until a voice crackled out of the speaker behind the door.
Nah, what do you think you're doing? Can't you read, Corporal?
There was no mistaking that voice. The unwarranted relief at hearing Kululu's unharmed voice brought fresh annoyance. "What are you doing that's so important to take up 2 weeks?"
3.
"Fine, 3 then."
Wanna come see?
Exhaling, brows creasing, Giroro finally relented. "Do I have a choice?"
For once.
"Fine, open the door." The speaker produced a short hum of static before the door slid aside, revealing the ever-ominous darkness that dominated every corner of the lab. Stepping inside and glancing around, Guerrero located a dim, flickering light in the recesses of the dome, and started towards it, arms crossed. What awaited him at the Sergeant Major's main workplace was something more of a shock than Guerrero would have expected. Giant mechas, arrayed weapons, even full body pods wouldn't have induced such a physical jolt as the empty area teased from him. Staring at the empty ground, the corporal felt himself frowning darkly before glancing at the outlined shape of Kululu at his computers, glasses reflecting the light, fingers dancing over the keyboards, data running across the many screens. A virus, maybe? What are you working on? Approaching the chair, Guerrero leaned over the unused portion of the keypads, trying and failing to make heads or tails of the coding.
Secret.
Frowning, the corporal tried another tact. Why are you working so hard?
Also a secret.
Once again, irritation spread over Guerrero's expression. Then why am I here?
I asked if you wanted to see, Corporal.
Kululu said idly, focus seeming trained solely on the screens.
You saw.
The brief, cynical grin and laugh prompted a scowl out of the Red Coronian. If this is relevant to the mission, I want to know.
Too bad.
Is it?
No.
A pause.
Oh, no.
Then I don't care either way. Standing up straight, Guerrero stretched his arms over his head, turning and heading back to the door. I'm sleeping inside tonight.
Too cold for you?
It was Guerrero's turn to pause. Maybe. That seemed to settle it. Guerrero left the lab, the door sliding shut behind him, and leaving the antisocial sergeant major to his work. Despite what he said, Guerrero's curiosity bugged him until he fell asleep, which didn't take long, actually. He never knew how comfortable the couch was compared to his sleeping bag. God damn it. Guerrero sat up, a muffled groan escaping as he lifted a hand to his head. A light throb passed through his temples as he opened his eyes halfway. Blinking at the dark glass doors, still nighttime. Sitting up and rolling off the couch, the corporal sighed, steadying himself against the armrest. He didn't have to ask. Indeed, Guerrero just stared at the figure in the doorway. He knew something was wrong the moment he woke up, but it was still a bit of a surprise to see the source of unsettlement was Kululu. Kululu, in the living room, and not summoning him to his lab for whatever reason. What's wrong? Wiping sleep from his eyes, focus sharpening. Guerrero stood up straight as the sergeant major stared blankly at him for a moment, expression unreadable. After a long wait, not one that was designed to annoy him, Guerrero noticed. Kululu finally spoke, sounding a little worse for wear.
Someone hacked my system.
After a beat, he sighed, continued.
My ventilation was tampered with.
Guerrero listened, not understanding for a moment, before seeming to get a hold of it. What? The corporal grit his teeth for a minute, kept his temper in check. Who? How much did they steal? Even through its annoyance, Kululu's laugh sounded tired.
Don't underestimate me, Corporal. They didn't steal anything.
They still got in, didn't they?
A minor setback. As a last resort, everything shuts down so nothing can be taken.
Guerrero had to admit it was a good plan, and it probably took a lot out of Kululu to admit he had a fallback plan that factored in the possibility of his intellectual failure. All right, fine. Then why are you up here?
My ventilation.
The sergeant major repeated dimly. He leaned against the frame of the entrance. The clouds outside drifted away from the mood, casting illumination over most of the living room. It shed light on the lower half of Kululu's body, and drew Guerrero's eye for a moment before he returned his attention to his company. What about it? Seeing a slouching in Kululu's posture, suddenly alarm went off in Guerrero's head. What's wrong?
They got one of my experiments.
The sergeant major said flippantly, his cynical grin visible by the moon's light.
I couldn't think of a way to spread it, but I guess I was overworking myself. The answer was so obvious.
After a minute, the corporal made a gesture for Kululu to come sit on the couch. After a beat, the communications officer stood straight again, only to turn away and walk back into the hallway. Hey! When no response was issued, Guerrero ran out into the hallway, glancing around until he saw Kululu headed back towards the base. Where are you going?
Bed.
Why did you come up here?
I don't know.
Following, Guerrero frowned, stepping in front of his raking superior and crossing his arms with reluctance. Kululu stopped, expression unreadable behind those glasses.
What?
You didn't answer me.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
What did you ask then?
What's wrong? What kind of experiment did What kind of
I think it's supposed to be did they.
Yeah. What's wrong? What kind of experiment did they subject you to? Kululu made a sharp, dismissive gesture, scowling slightly.
Get out of the way.
To his own irritation, Guerrero remained where he was, arms stubbornly crossed. After a minute, Kululu let out a frustrated huff of breath before smirking.
Fine. Be that way.
Fisting his hand in Guerrero's belt and yanking him forward before the corporal could even uncross his arms, the sergeant major forced their lips together, a startled sound leaping out of the red Coronian's throat. Just as quickly as the shock had come over him, it vanished, reflecting the speed of his fist as it hit Kululu's solar plexus and forced him back, winded. Holding his stomach, still grinning like an idiot, Kululu squinted his eyes slightly, forcing himself to stand relatively straight despite the pain in his gut.
What's wrong, Corporal? Can't take the heat?
Just as soon as the words were out of his mouth, Guerrero reached out and grabbed him. Uncharacteristic worry flickered behind Kululu's glasses as the corporal dragged him back into the living room. Even so, he didn't struggle, although he made the other drag him against planted heels. The sergeant major hadn't forgotten the corporal's temper, and maybe he'd pushed the wrong button again. Once or twice, he'd managed to push Guerrero far enough to make even himself regret it. Releasing Kululu as they came parallel to the couch, Guerrero continued another few steps before stopping, staring out the door with a cold silence. While it seemed an opportune moment to run, his dark curiosity tempted the sergeant major to stay as he was, watching. Finally, when the corporal seemed to bring control over his temper, he turned and walked back to Kululu, who took a quick step backwards at the expression on his face. One step was all he took before both narrowed eyes stopped him in place, and he froze under his subordinate's stare. The air felt tense with muffled emotion, all of which the sergeant major was too out of touch with his own feelings to even bother trying to identify. Guerrero reached out, grabbed his arm again, dragged him closer, heels still planted, and kissed him. Kululu's shoulders, previously hunched up as a mock defense, slouched, eyes widening slightly behind his glasses. Body slack, Guerrero had to tighten his grip on the sergeant major's arm and grab the other to keep him standing. Dragging himself out of the intimate motion, the corporal scowled down at his superior. "Stand up, you idiot." Snapping himself out of his lull of thought, Kululu stood up straight, still collecting his thoughts. What he had managed to gather all drifted away once again as Guerrero connected their lips again, and he nearly pushed himself away by instinct. He was being called on his affections, that was all. Guerrero was testing to see the true motives behind all his teasing. In the end, he was quick enough to gather his wits, and push himself back against the corporal, covering his previous shock by biting the other's lips. An irritated sound trapped itself in Guerrero's throat, his mouth otherwise occupied against Kululu's own. Unexpectedly, the nip was returned, his own dissatisfied hum catching with his breath. Warmth flooded gradually through his body, the heat working as a contagion and inflicting itself against the corporal's own temperature. There was a self-satisfied snicker before Guerrero bit him once more, silencing him for a brief moment before a pleased grumble defied him. In response, Guerrero lightened the pressure against Kululu's lips, releasing his arms and laying his own almost lazily over the sergeant major's shoulders. Lifting his head, Guerrero smirked down at the communications officer, both of their cheeks coloring in reply to the other's look. After a moment, Kululu offered a breathless laugh, his glasses a little fogged.
Is that all?
Guerrero snorted quietly, his arms folding behind Kululu's neck and trapping him in close quarters, inflicting his lips against the other's again. This time, their sounds remained suppressed, their teasing kept bare minimum. The affection enough was a hard enough blow against both their egos. Dragging his superior closer, Guerrero forced the other to lean back, intensifying the kiss and wrapping an arm deftly around Kululu's waist. It didn't take the genius long to realize he was being hard-pressed into a submissive position, his own hand flying down to grip Gyuroro's and pull it away, adding his own pressure to the kiss. His patience finally rewarded with retaliation. Gyuroro pushed Kululu back against the couch, his own impatience a good enough excuse to push things along. The sergeant major put up a brief struggle, breaking contact long enough to glare up at his subordinate for pinning him before he was subdued, and once again dragged into a kiss. Physically inferior or not, Kululu wasn't about to let his subordinate take control of the entire situation. The instant Gyuroro moved to push Kululu back up against the couch, his wrists were caught, and both bodies spun to switch positions, the communications officer coming out on top. Catching his balance against the couch, Gyuroro cast his superior a scathing glare, only to have it overcast as Kululu leaned over and reconnected their lips. He could see the frustration boiling under the corporal's surface, and drew a grin over his expression, deepening the wound. Gyuroro's expression darkened even as the kiss did, his fangs finding the skin on Kululu's lip and making him jolt slightly as the other drew blood. Parting ways, he licked the wound, frowning down at his subordinate with obvious irritation. Just as quickly as Kululu had forced his way to the top, he was suppressed, the weapon specialist utilizing his strength to spin and pin the other again. This time, when he grabbed the sergeant major's arms and pushed him up against the couch, the other merely gave a small flutter of retaliation before scowling and giving himself up to being manhandled. Perching on the edge of the couch, Kululu couldn't help but flush at the other's new line of sight. The last thing he could do, though, was let Gyuroro see how his upfront assault was embarrassing him. How ridiculous.
Well.
Gyuroro shot a glare up at the sergeant major, though seemed to shrug it off easily even before he pressed his lips against the sensitive area between Kululu's legs. The unexpectedly abrupt motion made Kululu jump once more, and he cursed irately to himself for once again being caught off guard. He thought he knew Gyuroro well enough to anticipate his actions, but that didn't seem to be the case when it came to intimacy. Again, this was brought to light as Gyuroro proved himself to be rather talented with his tongue. Every little motion brought a fresh shiver to Kululu's spine, his fingers digging into the couch's material even before his arousal fully surfaced. That, too, was taken advantage of by the corporal. Fingers deftly sending small shocks of pleasure down the shaft, lips and tongues teasing the head. It was surprisingly effective, and far more experienced than Kululu would have ever anticipated. By the loud chiming of the other room's grandfather clock, it was 1 a.m, and the sound alone almost startled a premature climax out of the sergeant major. Quickly collecting himself, cheeks flushed, he struggled to catch his breath, even as Gyuroro pulled away from his member, licking his lips. The sight darkened the blush on Kululu's cheeks, even before the corporal glanced up and smirked at him. The look was disturbingly sensual. Libido in full swing, Kululu didn't hesitate to grab Gyuroro's arms, haul him up onto the couch, and pin him against the cushions. "Hey," the corporal muttered, glaring slightly over his deepening blush. "Watch it."
I didn't know you were so skilled with your tongue, Corporal.
Kululu taunted. That music was not fitting.
What I missed?
I didn't know you were talented with your tongue. Dee 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 dee.
That's going on in the background, my bad.
Oh, Jesus. Kululu taunted, and a startled flush darkened Gyuroro's cheeks. "Shut up," Gyuroro groaned faintly, head falling back against the armrest to glare lazily up at the sergeant major. The glare disappeared, a wicked smirk rising to occasion. "I bet you're more talented, though."
Of course.
Kululu crooned, and a self-satisfied expression on the corporal's expression faded with annoyance. The nerd snickered under his breath, running his hands down Gyuroro's body in a quick, light assessment. His hands were light and quick, thanks to so many years of typing, and it was no surprise that they danced over his flesh so expertly as they did keypads. Little sparks seemed to jump off each digit that came into contact with Gyuroro's skin, little gasps escaping into the breathless air. Just as quickly, they moved down against Gyuroro's lower areas, playing against the skin there with a little less distraction. They sought out his arousal, locating it effortlessly, and just as easily bringing it to par with Kululu's own erection. The corporal moaned quietly as his superior teased him into equal libido, panting in time with Kululu over a short while. Reaching up, Guroro grabbed Kululu's headphones and dragged him down into a deep kiss. The sergeant major flagging in his surprise before intensifying the motions against the corporal's member in response. Guroro groaned softly through the other's lips, hips arching towards those tantalizing touches. Shamelessly, he lidded his eyes, Kululu's heartbeat skipping in response to the lustful expression. Just as quickly, it vanished. Embarrassment painted against Guroro's expression.
That was a good look on you, Corporal.
Don't get used to it. The corporal arched his back again slightly, hips rolling and pressing himself into Kululu's hand with a pleased moan, tipping his head back against the armrest. Kneeling over Guroro's waist, Kululu hunched forward slightly, hanging his head over the corporal's face and offering an arrogant grin. Growling dimly, Guroro grabbed the sergeant major's hips and forced their arousals together, pressing against the other and banishing that narcissistic expression in an instant. A startled moan slipped past Kululu's clenched teeth as he lowered his shoulders, dropping his forehead onto Guroro's shoulder as the other rolled their hips together once more.
Is that good, Corporal?
The sergeant major's voice held a slight husky note to it, the quiet tone forcing Guroro to listen and making him shiver. Kululu ran his fingers lazily over the corporal's hips, drumming them slowly like a piano, and finally took a loose grip at them, pressing himself down against his subordinate's crotch. Instead of replying, Guroro simply tightened his grip on Kululu's hips and added his own pressure in retaliation. The friction was a spark of pleasure between them, the contact something far surpassing self-indulgence. The sergeant major groaned briefly in pleasure at the returned weight, arching himself over his subordinate and pressing forward. Despite what fantasies Kululu held in his mind of stepping past boundaries and kicking aside limitations, he felt his own climax nearing, and thoughts of fucking Guroro into the couch were temporarily disbanded as he focused on getting to his first orgasm. The corporal's own breath had thickened, heart racing in his chest. Kululu spared a hand from Guroro's hips, bracing himself against the other's chest and spreading his fingers to feel the fluttering of his chest. Thrusting against the other, drawing another pleased moan from his subordinate, Kululu worked at keeping up the tempo, setting a demanding pace that Guroro struggled to match. Without warning, Guroro dug his fingers into Kululu's hips and flipped them both over, just on the brink of Kululu's own climax. With the distressed sound catching in his throat, the sergeant major only moaned loudly as the corporal forced their arousals back together, the friction suddenly intensifying with Guroro's physical stamina. One sec. Reading is hard work, kids.
Remember to do it often.
What, masturbate?
Well, that too, but... Reading is good, kids!
Thrusting roughly against his superior, Guroro groaned loudly in pleasure, felt Kululu grab at his hips and pull him even closer. A few moments later, he felt Kululu go rigid beneath him, a breathless sound of guilty pleasure bubbling out of Kululu's throat as he came hard against the corporal's austere thrusting. It took another several seconds of vigorous friction before Guroro came against the sergeant major's stomach, a breathless expletive escaping his lips before he could catch himself. The two collapsed against the couch, panting and sweating as their heartbeats slowly returned to normal. Rolling, kneeling over Guroro's waist, Kululu landed down once again and pressed their lips together, the corporal leaving his hands limp at his sides as he returned the gesture. The ventilation system finally resurfaced in Kululu's mind, and he wondered briefly if he should feel guilty. He had known that the pheromones in the air would be wreaking havoc on both their hormones, particularly their sex drives, but it had been a question of whether or not the house itself was being affected, or just his lab. Even here, in this position, with Guroro finally reaching up to drag him deeper into the kiss, Kululu wasn't sure if the air was tainted by his mystery hacker's doing. If it was, he wouldn't complain. If not, then maybe Kululu was asleep, and this was all just a pleasant wet dream. Pleasant wet dream or pheromones, it was probably the best opportunity to get in what he could with his favorite subordinates. Eventually, they both passed out, physically exhausted. By the time they woke up, though, the unconscious nighttime cuddles would have been broken apart, and unnoticed by either of them. Nothing ever went his way. Nothing. That stupid experiment was supposed to be fury. a knockoff airborne virus that Kulu had created in mockery of a Pegaponian horror movie. But no, of course the second he was about to have Kululu go into a homicidal rage against someone he cared about, who showed up? Taru, of course. Who else but Taru? The startled jerk of the hand forced him to activate the wrong program, and Tororo damn near strangled Taru for it. In the end, not bothering to check what sort of trouble he'd gotten Kululu in, the tadpole had shut his computers down, and finally gone to bed in a huff, his frustration and failed mission weighing down on his consciousness. The next time Taru bothered him, no matter what sort of tricks and tortures Tororo had come up with in the night, the private would instead be subject to helping the young hacker untangle himself from the rogue wires that had somehow managed to rouse themselves in the night, attain a virus, and attack him in his sleep, snaring him in a giant web of technology. Further investigation would locate a coded thank you letter in the tadpole's computer. The end.
Yay.
It took 6 months, but I hope you'll...
That was
Hot?
that was hard. That was hard work. I'm just,
Oh, hey, Sycophantism came in. Sorry it took so long to read your story.
Did you
I
like
hope
it?
it was worth it.
Did you like the
hope
narration?
you're happy. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't read it too fast, did I?
No, you read it just fine.
No,
Like,
you
it
were
was-
good. You were great.
Yeah, it took so long.
You
Like,
had
it was,
read, if you read slower, we'd be here all night.
and it was like on page... The corporal then thrust his hips very God damn it, man!
Thrust his hips against him. I forgot what it said.
Like in the middle of the thing, I went up and got a slice of pizza. I'm eating just like, all like, oh, and they did this, and I'm like,
That pizza better be good than sex. That's all I'm saying. Better be better than sex.
I'm just eating, and you guys are like fucking each other. Like, yep, just another day.
I was kind of fucking myself, really, because Kulu only said the occasional thing.
Yeah, really.
Just another day, and at midnight.
Also, it's more like just Thorn doing a play-by-play as to what exactly is going on.
I tried to stop tumble over myself. My tongue kept getting in the way. It does have a bonus ending. Sycophantism said they're going to upload it to their DeviantArt. Go ahead and upload that one there, too, if they'll allow it.
also look for a little bit. You have like a few spelling errors, but it was still pretty good. You were still the winner.
Yeah, we're done. I think that's everything on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Alrighty then. That's the end of the Midnight Frogs podcast in celebration of SFA 1, 2, and 3, and the majorly overdue reading of the Yowie Fic winner.
Yes.
You know what?